So, today is Trident Setup Day. I bought this a couple weeks ago during Black Friday and got it. It took me a while to set up because I just thought it was going to take forever to set everything up because it's this big, automated testing machine. And it took me about 30 minutes, so I sped this up quite a bit. This was only half of it, and it took 15 minutes. So it's really easy. You go into your taskbar. You literally just sorry, working on a little cold. But you literally just go into your task menu. You find your initial setup for the Trident, click it, and it makes you watch these YouTube videos in the app, and you just follow through them. So the first part is taking everything out, looking over everything, getting to know what parts you have, what goes where, so that when they talk about doing each with each piece, you know what piece they're talking about. So you have the Apex main unit, has this tray in it. You have a box of reagents. There are two reagent A's, because that is for your alkalinity. That gets used the fastest. And then there's one B and one C. B for calcium and C is for magnesium. With all of the... I got this on Black Friday, like I said, and I had a whole bunch of points, reefer points saved up. So I think I got it for like $4.80, something around there, which is a lot cheaper than what it normally is. So that's awesome. So first you need to have the Trident out of your cabinet so that you can hook up the supply and the wastewater lines. They come out the bottom. The black line is the supply, and it is black for an obvious reason, so that algae doesn't grow in there. It's a very small line, so you 100% do not want anything getting in there. It's pretty easy to push on. You want to make sure that it's seated all the way so that it doesn't suck any air in, which of course would create a problem. Next is doing the same thing, just with your wastewater line. It's like I said, it's pretty easy to get on. Just make sure it's put together all the way so that nothing leaks out. It does say that this needs to be placed on a flat, level surface. I'm just having mine sit on top of my RODI container for right now. I do plan on drilling some holes through the top of that container because I should really have no reason to go in there on a regular basis. And to jumble everything else around in my stand is just not practical or realistic. The other thing I think I showed was this little added piece that came with it. It was an optional accessory. It's a filter for the intake of the supply line. And that's to keep little particulate matter from going in and clogging up the device. And because if you go on the forums, all you see is that people have, clogs happen, like no supply and all that stuff. And then you have, if it gets into the machine, then you've got to send it for, repair work. And if it's not at home, doing its job, then you're literally losing money on something that you already paid a lot of money for. So this was me finding an Aquabus cable that was going to work. I wasn't sure how long of one I was going to need, so I grabbed a 6-foot cable that I had that was a spare. Now you do need an Aquabus cable, so you have to have a free Aquabus port on another device, another module. And the video goes really out of focus here for a little bit because I keep moving around. But it's really simple. You plug the Aquabus cable in. Do not plug anything in to anything else, okay? And then it gets power through the one-link cable. So you also need an open one-link area as well, obviously. If you don't, they do have an optional accessory where you can buy a power supply, like a 24-volt power supply for it. But that's just extra money, and I just didn't feel like doing it. Because I had a spare. I have a bunch of spare one-link ports, so it wasn't even a problem. Again, nothing is plugged into the Apex. Things are only plugged into the Trident. First is reagent C. You put it in the tray, screw the cap on, and you want to make sure that the hose that's coming out goes to the left side of the Trident. The tubes basically pull out and lead back to the side that they should be facing. So it's kind of intuitive. Next is reagent B. Reagent B and reagent A, they're aimed towards the right side of the Trident, which is again where their hoses kind of lead off to in the back. The caps are kind of hard to get off. It's said to keep the caps just in case something were to happen and you were going to need, or like the reagent was left over and you needed to take them out or something to try and clean out an object or whatnot. The drawer is kind of hard to get to close all the way and close correctly, so I had to fiddle around with that for a couple minutes actually, which is fine. Okay. Now, it does have the calibration solution. I did not do a calibration on it because the app and the guide actually suggests that you let it run a couple days on your system and then do the calibration on it afterwards if something were to seem a little bit off. I've not had any real issues with it. Now, as I look right this minute, our alkalinity is 8.17, calcium is 391, which seems a little low, and our magnesium is 1557, which is a little high for what I think it should be right now. So I can do something simple. I'll just calibrate it, and I'll run a test with each of the HANA checkers that I have and see if we're within the margin of error for each device. Obviously, they're not going to read exactly the same, nor are they going to be exceptionally close, because this can be plus or minus an amount, and the HANAs can be plus or minus an amount as well from what the actual value is. So as long as they're within the two margins, then it's okay. But calcium does seem a little bit low for what I've been testing, so we'll just double check that. And to double check that, you can even use the calibration solution, because that has known values for each of those three, and you can run that through your HANA checker or your Red Sea or your Salifer or whatever testing you're using, and check those devices off of your Trident as well. So if your Trident is reading the calibration solution at 8.5, and it's the calibration solution says it's supposed to be 8.55, and your HANA reads 8.75. Well, okay, that's fine. That's within their margin of error. Don't quote me on that. I don't have right off the top of my head the calibration, the margin of error for each of them. It comes with this clip. I suspended the intake an inch or so under the level in where our refugium was. It's not an active refugium anymore per se. It doesn't have light in it. It just has some sand, some gravel, and some small rocks for a safe place for pods. And that's all. But overall, I really like it. It was super easy to set up. I just kind of freaked myself out about it, thinking that it was going to be really difficult, and because of that, I put it off. And my drain container is this Dr. Pepper 2-liter soda bottle. You do have to go in and set what size your bottle is, or your container. But other than that, everything is super simple. I can't wait to post a follow-up video going over how I think it's going and whatnot, and we'll see you. Thanks. Have a great day.